All right, let's get started. Good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining our session at such short notice. We know there is a lot of confusion in the air right now with regards to COVID and then the cap lottery that happened yesterday, actually. And we thought we will do our share to clarify any questions once we go through the presentation and hopefully ease some anxiety that everyone is currently facing. So let's get started. So yesterday, USCIS announced that the lottery process has been completed. What that means is they have basically said they've completed running the lottery. And they should be allowed. They should be letting us know as to who has been picked and who has not been picked. They have not announced how many numbers were picked. That is, they haven't given the total number of application that was actually filed, but they've said that the process is completed. We are basically waiting on CIS to now let us know how many applications were filed and how many have been selected. I'm guessing that that data should be coming to us either Monday or Tuesday, but they have confirmed that by the 31st, we should know the whole thing will be completed. Now, if the employers are there, they should be able, you guys would be able to see three statuses on the pre-registration portal: selected, submitted, and denied. What it means is the selected people who are selected, there will be who are already counted towards the who have applied. No, who I'm sorry. People who are selected are people whose pre-registration has been picked. Submitted applications are applications which were submitted. Denied are where they find multiple applications. Now, even though the applications show selected, you'll still see some in the submitted form, because what USCIS is going to try doing is in end of June, they might do another lottery. It is something that they're considering right now to fill in any petitions that was not filed. Right. So there is still a little bit of hope. I will not say don't keep hope. Don't don't be dejected yet. I believe they have declared all the people who've been selected. If something is trickling in, it hasn't happened since 12 noon today. Now, it is being assigned to random service centers. That is, we don't know. So let me give you an example. Texas employers are seeing their applications being requested to be filed both in California and Vermont. They're seeing the same thing with New Jersey employers. They are randomly assigning which service center the application has to be sent to. It is not based on which state your employer is in. Now, the selected applications have to be filed between April 1st and June 30th. June 30th. Like I said, there's a second possible round of lottery that can happen. We are not sure if they would do it or not, but that is what USCIS had informed us earlier of. Now, students whose applications have been picked through pre-registration process, you will not be able to see any change in your SAP on your service until the actual filing, the actual LCA and this I-129 and the entire package is delivered to USCIS, and you will need to updo that application to qualify for CAPGAP. So if you're looking at your service to determine, hey, did I get picked or not, you will not see a difference. I highly recommend that you talk to your employers, because they will have the latest information. Now, there are some changes that we are seeing thanks to COVID-19 with USCIS and Department of Labor. Some of the key changes that we are noticing right now are that the field offices and appointment service centers are closed. So this happened, the announcement that these are closed came on March 17th at around midnight. So there were people who could not appear for their biometric or naturalization interview, oath ceremony, whatever the case may be. They could not actually go for the biometrics or the interview because they are closed. Now, please don't panic. USCIS has said that they understand and they will reschedule these appointments. Now, we are also seeing appointments being scheduled that are between the period of March 18th to April 7th. basically April 7th is when they have technically said the the field offices and appointment service centers will be reopened. But if you are getting a biometric notice between this period of time, please expect that you will get another appointment letter or a notice that says, hey, we will be rescheduling it. Please do not panic. If your cities, counties, and states are under shelter in place, this is not an essential service, so please don't try to venture out. Now, one of the key takeaways because of this would be that it will delay H4s, because H4s and change of statuses right now that were applied, because unless the biometric is completed, the next steps cannot proceed. Uh, this also implies that there will be a delay in H4 EADs to be processed, because without the H4 EAD will not get approved. So that will be the consequences of the field office and appointment service centers being closed. Now, as we know, the borders are closed to many of the countries, including the US, India, China, Pakistan, Sri Lanka at this point. So if a person is currently in the country and their I-94 has expired, please still go ahead and file for an extension of stay or change of status. This can be done online. While you're filing it, please remember to give the reason that that the COVID-19 is what is causing you to apply for the extension or change of status, and basically you're doing your due diligence to ensure that you're trying to maintain status. Um, if you have any questions, please reach out to our office. Our office is offering help in with no charge for people who are in the situation where the I-94 has expired and they're looking to understand how to file extensions or change of status so that they can stay in the country legally. Now, there's a lot of talk about F1 students getting an EAD card under economic hardship. I will talk to you once we start talking about students and how this can be availed, but this is something that should be considered. Expedited processing. Now, if your EADs are pending, that is your H4 EAD, L2 EAD, GC EAD are pending, you could actually call USCIS, cite economic distress, and ask them to expedite the processing. So please remember, you have to say that there is an economic distress because of which you're asking them to expedite, and USCIS has said that they will try to accommodate the request. So I'll give you an example of an economic distress. Person has applied for H4 EAD. The H1 holder or the family unfortunately had COVID-19, had to be hospitalized, and they have racked up considerable bill. You can use that as a reason to file for expedited processing. Now, you don't have to pay any extra filing fee. There is no paperwork to be filed, but the process is that you actually pick up the phone, call USCIS, and ask them to expedite the processing. Now, that is not easy, guys, because they are going to make you keep you on hold for a very, very long time. But that's food for thought. Visa foils for immigrant petitions. So what happens is when a green card is stamped, a green card petition is stamped outside the country as a consular process, then the visa is given for 6 months only before the person can come back in. Now, because there's travel restriction, people cannot travel. What State Department has said that is they will reissue visa foils that will allow them for a new 6-month period that will allow them to enter. So you'll have to reach out to the consular process and ask them for a new visa foil. If you are stuck outside the country, you have a GC that has been stamped on your passport. Premium processing. So premium processing has been stopped for all petitions. There is no premium processing that is available right now for anyone. Now, the reasons for why they have stopped premium processing is different based on the type of application. The cap subject petition. So let me give you a little history lesson. So last year, what USCIS did was they stopped premium processing for all cap cases. And they said they will open up premium processing based on whether it's a change of status or a counselor process on a different date. Basically, they're staggering when they will accept these premium processing application. And they firmly believe that doing so has improved their processing time. I don't agree, but hey, that's their belief. Now, the cap subject petitions, that is petitions, H1B petition that you're going to file now for H1, they'll accept premium processing as of May 27th for change of status petitions. That is, if you're in the country and you're looking to change from an F1 to a H1, H4 to a H1, any such thing, right? For a counselor petition, when a beneficiary has to go outside, get a stamping and come back in, those guys can apply for premium from June 29th onwards. However, the cap exempt petitions, that is change of H1B, change of employer, amendments, extensions, I-140, the premium processing has been stopped only for the purposes of because of COVID-19 and nothing else. Now, this will impact people who have applied for extension petition only, because remember, people who have filed for extension, they get 240 additional days, that is I-94 plus 240 additional days to stay and work in the country. After the 240 days, they don't have work authorization, but they can stay in the country legally until such time a decision on the case is made. So if your I-94 is still valid, this might be something that you guys should be talking to your employers to see, hey, they would file another petition, an amendment plus extension petition under certain circumstances, to see if you can continue, you'll have the ability to work continuously, right? Now, H1B and its challenges. Folks who are students, I am not ignoring you. I will come to what is happening in the F1 world shortly, but let me first address the H1B friends here, and then we'll get to you. H1B, so on Friday, we got to hear that RFEs and NOID issued between March 1st and May 1st have an extra 60 days to respond, which is a good thing. And the reason again for this is COVID-19. They want, because they want to give the field officer, the service center officers additional time to react. They are giving extra 60 days. However, you guys should be considering certain scenarios where your I-94 is going to expire soon, and there is a possibility the projects are coming to an end. You may want to respond to your petition and then file a new petition. So yes, 60 days is good, but not always. So it again has to be determined on a case-to-case scenario. Talk to your employers, have them talk to their attorneys, and make the best decision. Now, a common question that I get to hear is, hey Sharda, because of COVID-19, I've been asked to work from home. Do I have to file an amendment? So the answer is yes, no, and a gray area, right? Now, you can work from home without any filing of any amendments if your home is in the same MSA or commuting distance of your work location. Let me give you an example. Suppose you're working for the Bank of America in Irving. If you live in Irving, you live in Fort Worth, you live in Frisco, you don't need an amendment. You can continue working from home. Now, if you are working at Bank of America in Irving, but your house is in Houston, and you've been typically coming here over the week and going back home, in that case, 20 CFR 655-735 allows for a person to work from another location for 30 days at a time to a maximum of 60 days a year. That is, you're okay to work from home for about 60 days, but beyond that, either we wait for some clarification from Department of Labor, or you should be thinking of filing an amendment, right? Now, wages to be paid. So common questions that I'm hearing is, um, I'm not going to work. Should I be getting paid? Uh, there are two different kinds of scenarios that we need to be considering. Non-productive time, that is, um, you're not doing work, right? You don't have work. If you're a LC and you have an LCA, typically your employer, as per the Department of Labor rules, is supposed to still pay you if you're on H1B. However, if you ask for leave of absence, you say, so let me give an example. The client is Apple. Apple does not want to reveal any sensitive information, so they don't give a work from home options. Instead, they say, hey boss, you know what, stay at home for 3 weeks and then come back later. Now, if the 3 weeks you're staying at home, your employer is still supposed to pay you. However, if you say, Apple wants me to come into work, but I don't want to go into work because I'm too scared, I might get COVID-19, and you request for a leave of absence, then the employer does not have to pay you. So the scenario really is based on the agreement and the deals that you have with your employer, but please be careful as to how you play with it. Now, what do we do when the I-94 has expired, or you have a denial right now, and you have a denial right now, and you obviously cannot go back to your home country? Couple of things to be considered is non-pro-tunc. I know in the past, a lot of you have come to us saying, can you file my petition non-pro-tunc? Let me explain what is non-pro-tunc. Non-pro-tunc means this for that. Can I substitute this petition for that petition, all things remaining the same? Now, if you know the reason for denial and the project is going to be the same, the employer is going to be the same, you could perhaps consider filing it as non-pro-tunc, but that would be dependent on what the attorney and your employer decide to do. So, but it's food for thought. Now, there are scenarios where the project has changed, you have a denial in hand, and you can't, an I-94 has expired, so obviously you can't leave the country. Consider changing your status from H1 to a B1, B2 until such time the travel ban is lifted, and then you can travel. That way, when you go to the consulate later to get a new stamping, you show that you did your in good faith. You made sure that you try to maintain status. Now, beneficiaries who don't have a valid I-94. I can't reiterate this enough, but please be extra careful as to what you are up to, because your actions may lead to deportation. Apart from your legal stay issues, health-wise, now is not the time that you want to end up in deportation proceeding at all. So it's very common for me to hear about drunken driving, driving without license, um, domestic abuses, that is, you've been screaming and fighting, and the neighbors called on you. Whatever the case may be, please be very careful right now, especially when your I-94s have been has expired. Now, prompt responses, like I was talking about, prompt responses to the RFE is important. Uh, to see what you can do to make sure you're staying in the country legally. So again, talk to your employers, have them talk to the attorneys, and see what they can do to help you out. One of the other things that we hear about is that the client has furloughed you. Yes, should you get paid? Unfortunately for the employers, you do need to get paid because it is the client who has furloughed, not the employer himself or herself. If there is any change, they might want to consider filing an amendment to keep you in status. It is better to do that to make sure you are in, both your employer and your client and the employees are in compliance. Benching is not allowed. Please remember, benching is not allowed. That is, if you're without a project, the employer still has to continue paying you. Otherwise, they will have to risk issues with the Department of Labor. If there is a change of wages, you need to consider, the employers should consider filing an amendment. So let me give you an example. The client has been paying you 60 an hour, and now they have decided to cut it down to 40 an hour. if your employer decides to pay you 40 an hour now, then an amendment is required. Then alternative would be to go from a full-time H1 to a part-time H1. That is absolutely okay, but again, an amendment is required. In our office, we hear quite a few rumors that are going on, and I thought I'll take a minute to address these issues. 1 year extension, automatic extension, even though the I-94 has expired for H1Bs. That is an absolute rumor. A petition was made by uh, was made. It has not been approved. It is not even being considered at this point. So any stories that you're hearing about 1 year extension is absolutely not true. Please don't stay thinking it is true. H4 EADs can work on receipt notice. That is not true either. H4 EADs absolutely need their EAD card before they can continue working. L2 holders of L2, they don't require an EAD card. That is absolutely not true. They absolutely need an EAD card for them to work. However, they don't need the EAD card to get an SSN. So that's where the confusion comes. You don't need, for L2s, you don't need the EADs to apply for an SSN. They can take the approval notice, go to the Social Security office, get an SSN number, and then apply for EAD if they so wish. But in both scenarios, you need to physically have the EAD in card before you can start working. Now, USCIS last week said that they passed new rules on fresh ink requirements. So regularly, what used to happen is we needed fresh signature, right? Proper signatures, fresh ink signatures from employees, beneficiaries, attorneys on certain forms. I-129, 539, 765, all those forms. USCIS has waived that requirement. They said it's absolutely fine if you can, do an e-signature, scan it, and send it. The whole idea is to allow for this whole social distancing that is becoming very critical in our lives right now. However, if you are sending us 539s and 765s to our 765 scanning it and sending it to us, please do keep the originals with you because it might be requested later. I do have to tell you guys that even though the fresh ink signature requirement has been waived for 765, that is for EADs, the photograph requirement has not really been waived. It is still in place. You still have to give us those photographs. Now, if you decide to file a change of status 539 or any kind of 539s, should you decide to send the scanned copies, you can ACH the filing fee to us, and our office will write the check on your behalf, so as to make sure that we keep the social distancing concept going. Call our office and we'll give you further information. Public charge. So this was implemented, again, history lesson, right? So Congress implemented this whole public charge rule that says that when an immigrant or a non-immigrant applying for adjustment of status or eventually naturalization will be deemed inadmissible if they have shown that they have availed some public charge, or they see a scenario wherein they believe that they will avail these extra benefits that are classified as public charge. There was it was put on hold, but Supreme Court allowed it to pass on until such time that they make a decision on the case. So it was implemented it has been in place since Feb 24th of this year, except for the state of Illinois. There are certain benefits that are considered as public charges, and the definition varies between the State Department and USCIS. But things like if you take food stamps in California, if you have been getting rental assistance, if you've been using federal funded Medicaid, Those things, if you have availed of it, please let your attorneys know, because you have availed public charge, and your attorney can see what they can do to help you out here. Don't try to sweep it under the rug. It's not a good idea. They have the information. Let's see what we can do to help you out. Now, this follows the question that the testing for COVID-19 is not considered public charge. So if you believe that you are suffering from COVID-19, you're seeing symptoms, and you're afraid to go get yourself tested because you think it will be considered public charge, USCIS has come out and said that it is not considered public charge. So people who are symptomatic, you should consider getting your tested without any fear. Also, the stimulus bill we are seeing that was recently passed is not considered as public charge if you are filed as a resident in the prior tax year. Most of the H-1Bs, green card holders, L1s, L2s, none of you you're all considered as resident, since resident as per the IRS rule, and you can use the stimulus check without an issue. However, the big exception would be students. Students are not considered residents as per IRS, and you will not be able to use the stimulus check. So please be very careful as what you do. As though what is happening right now is not chaotic enough, the government passed something called the Family First Coronavirus Act, which was literally written in 2 days' time, and they have made changes to the employee paid leave policies, and the FMLA Act starts on April 2nd. While I'll go through the basics, I highly recommend the employers and employees to contact attorneys who practice in the area of employment and labor laws to get more clarification. But please understand, this thing is going on right now. It has not been completed. It's a completely gray area for immigration attorneys and attorneys who are practicing employment and labor laws. So things are changing on the fly. We are trying to keep up with it, but please don't decide anything on yourself. Talk to your attorneys before you do so. Now, what the Act says is they're basically segregating the Act into two steps, right? Step one is the employee paid sick leave. What they're saying is for 3 weeks, an employee can claim sick leave if either they are sick because of the coronavirus, or because they have to take care of their loved ones who is suffering for coronavirus, wherein for the first 10 days, they get paid fully for the first 10 days. And for the remaining period of time, they get paid two-thirds. There are 6 different reasons under which you either get paid fully or 2/3 of your regular pay. But again, please talk to your employers and your counsel before you decide. Now, following this 3-week period, you get an additional 9-week period that you can claim for an FMLA, wherein either you are sick, you're unable to work, or you have to take care of someone who is sick because of COVID-19, and the pay structure varies if it is an FMLA or a sick leave. Remember, this starts from April 2nd onwards. So if you say, hey, Sharda, I'm sick now, should I get paid? It depends on your leave policy and your employment agreement that you have with your employer. Please go look at your handbook and talk to your employer about it. Now, my dear students, there are some challenges that we are seeing naturally. There are a couple of scenarios that you should consider. The school has closed and there are no classes provided. As long as the school has updated the service SEVP about it, you're fine, you're in status, there's nothing to be worried about. The school closes, but they are providing you online classes. It is a requirement that students go to attend the online classes and make sure you're staying on top of it and ensuring you're completing your obligations, because otherwise you'll be considered online as not maintaining status. So you really need to follow the rules and regulations that the school is putting in regarding the online classes. If they need you to attend every day, you need to attend every day, because otherwise uh, you risk your visa status. Now, we are seeing, so usually the schools allow people to come in 60 days before this it starts. So if someone is coming in for the summer term, they're already in, they came, they reported to school saying, yes sir, I'm here, but the school closed due to coronavirus, they're still considered to be legally in status in the country. You don't have to be worried about it, but I do recommend that you go check to see if your how your civil status looks like. Now, because of all this confusion, it is okay for you guys to leave the country or move somewhere within the country, as long as you're reporting it to your school and you're maintaining the requirements of your classes with the school. And that is, for example, your school is in New York, and we know that New York is not the place to be, and you have decided to move to, say, Dallas to stay with your family. It is absolutely okay. They will not question as to why you are in this thing. It is unconsidered understood. During this time, if you're applying for OPT or STEM OPT or STEM OPT, um, if this DSO is issuing an electronic I-20 instead of the originally signed I-20, that is absolutely okay. There is no problem. Should you decide, people who are on CPT, as long as you're maintaining your requirements from the school, even if you're, say, working on your CPT, doing your online thing, and you're doing it from outside the US, you're okay as well. However, the things that have not changed is the reporting rules have not changed. That is, you still have, if you're on STEM OPT or OPT period, you're required the work requirement, submitting your 983s, those requirements have not changed. So please don't say that, hey, it was Corona and I did not think about doing it. Those requirements have not changed. Now, if the students are at school right now, that is, you're a student, but you're not on OPT, CPT, STEM OPT. So you're a student who's actually at school. You see, and you're facing economic hardship, that is, your loved one is sick, has corona or whatever, and you're racked up bills, you can use that as a reason to go talk to your DSO and see if you can get 1 year's you can get an EAD to work off campus during this time. However, please remember, the economic hardship work permit that students can get is a higher standard. It really depends on your DSO and your school policies, but it is something that is available to the students. Now, I know I speak fast, and I'm trying to speak fast so that I can take more questions. But let's quickly talk about dependent visas. I quite often hear that H4 has been applied, it has been more than 240 days, do I have to leave the country? No, the 240-day rule does not apply to the dependent visa holders. You guys can stay in the country until such time a decision on your case has been made. We are seeing delays in your H4 EADs because of the biometric delays, and there is nothing that we can do to expedite it. As we talked about, your EADs can be expedited if you pick up the phone and talk to USCIS and see if they can, and say that you're facing economic hardship and see if they can help you out a bit. But please remember, it is a long wait. It's going to be an extremely long wait. You might have to do this multiple times to talk to them, right? Right. I hope that helped, but before I take questions, let me quickly go through the chat and see what are the questions being asked, and we will take it, and then I'll open it up for to others.
Yeah, I made note of all the questions that have been posted so far. So I will read them in the order in which we got them. and you can answer them as we go along. So just bear with me 1 second. So the first question that we got says, it is from RP. Perm is in process, maxing out in May 2020. I-94 is expiring in May 2020. What are the options?
RP, you might want to consider filing for a change of status. The change of status so that you get additional time later, because your 140 has to be approved for you to claim an extension. However, if your perm has been pending for 1 year, that is, the process started and it's been you filed the perm, it has been 1 year, then you get a 1-year extension.
Okay. Can I go to the next question?
Yes, please.
Perm is filed in the month of January. How long would it take for approval in this situation?
So we are seeing that perms are getting approved in 5 to 6 month period of time. But however, we are expecting further delays because the Department of Labor is going to go through resource constraint because of COVID-19. I can take the next one.
My OPT is ending on April 26th. And if my H1 gets picked, what are my options for cap gap?
So you should be filing your H1. You should be talking to your employers to file your H1 as soon as possible, because once you get the receipt notice, you can take that and go to your TSO and ask for a cap gap by 20.
Are we ready for the next question?
I am.
Did USCIS complete the process of sending notifications to all the picked H1 applications, or is it still going?
At this point, I believe it has been completed and the employers have been notified. However, USCIS has also stated that they are going to complete it by 31st. So it is possible that if they have not communicated, there is still a little bit of time, but I do believe it has been completed. I'll take the next one.
Public charge rule. I'm on H1B and I have a 9-year-old son who is born in the US citizen. Due to a medical condition, he is receiving Medicaid as secondary insurance. Regardless of income, he is getting the benefits. Will this affect my green card process, or when I submit H1B extension, do I need to mention in the form?
As long as it is only the public, the Medicaid and the is being used only for the US citizen and is not for the parent, it is not considered as public charge, and it shouldn't affect your H1B extension or your green card paperwork. However, if you are filing paperwork with IRS, please make sure that the paperwork is being filed correctly and you have it as proof as well.
Next question.
Yes.
President Trump's $2 trillion emergency bill, is it applicable to H1Bs as well?
Like I said, the stimulus bill or the bill that has been passed applies to all residents. So H1Bs should be able to use any stimulus check. What we don't know though is, can you file for unemployment and claim unemployment under the bill, because the language of the bill is not clear at this point. I'll take the next one.
Shraddha,
Yes, go ahead. You make. Is there a follow-up question to that?
Yeah. So
Go
the
ahead.
OPTs are not considered, right?
Technically, the OPTs are not considered because students are not considered residents as per IRS.
Okay. Yeah. No problem. Thank you.
No problem. I'll take the next one.
Yeah. So my employer filed amendment and USCIS received USCIS received it 2 days after my I-94 expiration. Now I received a 797B, but I filed a H1 transfer to another employer before I-94 expiration and waiting for the approval and not working for them. So can I ignore the 797B and work with transfer employer with the receipt notice? Am I out of status?
No, you won't be out of status, but you really need to pick which employer you're going to be working with. You can, yes, you can definitely move to the employer with whom you have a transfer, or if things get better, you decide to stay with your employer and get your go for consular processing. That is absolutely fine. You're not out of status right now.
Can J2 EAD be expedited as economic
Yes.
distress?
Yes, you definitely can do that.
Hi, Shraddha.
Hi. How?
Yeah, hi.
Yes.
Good afternoon. Yeah, I am Vamshi. I have a small question. I am right now. I am at the. I'm going to complete my OPT period, and as for now, I have applied for my STEM OPT, and due to this COVID-19 thing, it's showing me like USCIS has been closed, and I have sent yesterday. I have sent my documentation to them. May I know how many days it would get for processing of my STEM OPT things?
So your USCIS is closed only for the face-to-face interaction, Vamsi. So they will still be processing your application for STEM OPT as is. You should be able to get it in 3 to 4 months based on the processing time that you should be able to monitor on USCIS's website. They are not closed for the purposes of your purposes right now. Let me put it that way.
Okay.
Kindly
Thank you.
refrain from asking the questions directly because there are people who have posted their questions and we are trying to go in that specific order. But if you have a follow-up question to what has been answered, yes, please feel free to interject and ask that question.
Hi, this is Rabindra, and I have a follow-up question on my first question, which is there in the first question on the chart. Like a form was in process and mixing out in May.
Go ahead.
Okay, so you said that I can go for a change of status. So which visa I have to move on? Because my form was filed in November 1st, and because of the delay, it is not done. So maybe a couple of months it will take to come from form.
Right.
But I-140 is premium is suspended, so I have to go in a normal mode for I-140.
Right. So you will want to convert to a B2. However, you will not be able to work. So the better thing, possible thing that you could consider is file for B2, stay in the country. Once the borders are open, you may want to leave the country. Once I-140 is approved, you may want to file an extension and come back in.
Okay, got it. Okay, sure. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next question. If I'm transferring my H1 from employer A to B, how soon can I start working? And in case of rejection of transfer, what are my options?
So you can start working for the new employer as soon as you have the receipt notice in hand. If it is denied, you'll have to come back to your prior employer, see if they will hire you back. Or you will have to find a new employer, but that petition would have, if it has been more than 60 days between this period, will have to be filed as a consular process. That is, you'll have to step outside for stamping.
In case I get a denial for my H1 transfer, leaving the country would be difficult due to COVID-19. Will that impact my future visa application?
No, it will not. It will not create it won't have any effect on your future application. But if it does get denied and your I-94 has expired, I suggest that you file a change of status petition until such time that you can leave the country.
2 weeks ago, I changed to a new job. How soon do I need to file my H1B amendment?
You should have filed it 2 weeks ago before you went to your new job.
If I-140 is approved, can we just file H1 and H4 extension now and file for H4 EAD later as it requires physical photo?
Absolutely.
I am on my last year of STEM OPT and it is expiring on June 25th. What are my options for CAP? I filed my first 2 years with employer A and where my first year petition got denied. And the second year it was not picked. And now I changed my employer. New employer B has filed my H1. Could you please shed some light on this, whether my 2-year scenarios of H1 will have impact on this year's petition?
No, it will not affect your upcoming petition. However, if I were you, I would decide to pick an employer and file with that employer. You should be filing the H1B petition before your STEM OPT expires so that you can get CAP.
What will happen to any MTR filed for last year's H1B? I have no information or receipt number for my MTR and in the Code and Law portal. It shows as MTR is closed. Also, if I get picked for H1B this year, will they process MTR or will it be auto cancelled?
Okay, so Tanvi, the status of a case, you will have to talk to your employer about it, because we cannot, unfortunately, because of dual representation scenarios, we cannot tell you your status directly to you. However, if you filed an MTR for the prior CAP season and you have filed a H1B this year, you can continue maintaining it as two separate threads. One will not affect the other.
In the Code and Law portal, my case was showing that it was processing under USCIS. So when will it be updated, whether it is selected or denied? I will take that. I will take
okay.
the question. So we have identified all the selected cases. So we should be sending out the notifications to the selected applicants today and before end of day today. So the way it is going to work is you will have the notification saying that the filing case has been created associated with this, and your receipt notice, everything will be uploaded to that case. Your employer will get notified and you will get a little note saying that, okay, this filing case has been opened. We are trying to wrap it up today because we had a pretty huge hit rate. We have several cases that got picked. So we are going through all of them. And also to answer another question previously that was asked, whether the USCIS has stopped picking applications. What we have noticed is from in this morning, there is no change in the number of applicants that have been selected after what we have seen this morning. So in all likelihood, it is done. But as per what they have said previously, there would be more cases coming through 31st of March. So we will be closely monitoring, and if anything gets picked, we will identify it and we will create a case and we will notify you. Next question. Is there a limit for unemployment days when on CPT?
No.
I received an RFE on the 19th of February for my H1B transfer. If my RFE response is not submitted by due date, which is 8th of May, would it result in a denial?
Yes.
So do you want to elaborate on the 60-day extension?
The 60-day extension does not apply to RFEs that was issued before March 1st. So Anila, I know your case pretty well, and I know that the RFE was issued before March 1st. So we have to answer by May 8th. So we get the 60-day extension only for RFEs that was issued between March 1st and between March 1st and May 1st. Your RFE does not qualify here.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Hi, Sarada. Have
Is
a
that a
question.
follow-up question?
No, I am clear.
Okay. Sorry,
Okay.
someone interjected. Who is that?
Oh, it's Ganesh.
Yes, what is that?
Yeah. So I have a question. So on 2018, right, I'm on F1 OPT status, and by 2019, I got my H1 picked up and approved. So right now, due to this COVID-19, I heard government is giving some relief fund somewhere around $2,400 if I file my taxes under H1B copy together as a married. Do I still get that relief fund or no?
You will really need to talk to your CPA to determine what your wages have been, and they should be able to tell you if you will get a check or not.
Okay,
As an
ma'am.
H1, can you get a check? Yes, you can.
Okay, that sounds good then. Thank you.
Yeah. Hello, this is
Yes,
Abhilash.
guys,
I have
just 1 second. Guys, Abhilash, I'm sorry to interject, but quite honestly, there are a whole bunch of people who have posted their questions, okay? And we are trying to go in that sequence. If you have a follow-up question to the question on the RFE issued before 1st of March, some of that stuff, please continue. But
no, it's not related to the continuous question.
Okay,
I already
please.
posted it.
Okay, I'll be getting to your question. Has your question already been answered, or is it?
It's not answered the question.
Okay, yeah, I will get to it. So if H1B extension decision is still pending after the 22, can you please mute yourself, Abhilash? If H1B, I'm getting an echo.
No, I think it's okay. We can hear you fine.
Okay. If H1B extension decision is still pending after the 240 days, after I-94 expiration date, during this COVID issue, is USCIS considering to allow work after 240 days? And
no. You, I see your question, Balaji, but unfortunately, you can stay in the country after the 240 days. You cannot work out of the 240 days. And at this point, USCIS has not determined that they're going to make an exception to the COVID-19 because of COVID-19. Before we go to the next one, I do have a question from Preeta Selvaraj. She asks, what if we don't get projects on H1? Can we change to H4 for the time being? And once COVID's over, we can change back to H1. Yes, it is possible, but it depends on whether you got a change of status H1 approved earlier, you've been maintaining your status, and all those questions. Preeta, I am closely aware of your scenario. If you can have Raghu or Shweta email me your questions separately, I'll be more than happy to answer it separately for you.
Thank you, Sharda. I'll follow. Thank you.
Sure.
okay, have you finished Balaji Bhaskaran's question?
H1B?
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
So Pixel.
I have a question, continuation to that.
Go ahead.
I mean, can we apply premium now on the H1B extension?
No, premium is closed.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
So Pixel 3A, my H1 is expiring. I need to file extension. Is the USCIS open to file it?
Yes, they will accept your petitions. The service centers are accepting petitions, guys. Only the appointment service center or the field office wherein they see you physically, only those centers are closed at this point.
Okay. Is March 31st the last day to know whether my case is picked or not? Is there a chance that we can expect for it to get picked later on? I think you have more information on that.
Okay, so they have said March 31st is the last day. However, they have USCIS has also said that there's a possibility of a second lottery that will happen in June to fill in anything that has not been, fill in the places where the applications have not been filed. So there is a chance, but I don't want to give you too much hope at this point and not have you have a plan B available for you. So please go ahead with your plan B.
Thanks, Sharda.
My J2 EAD is expiring soon. I've applied for renewal. Is there any possibility of continuing to work after the expiry due to the delay in processing the renewal? Unfortunately not. They have not made a statement about it yet. It is something that we are closely monitoring in our office, and we'll keep you posted if there are any changes.
I applied for STEM OPT and SHIP, but USCIS is closed.
Sorry?
The STEM OPT is applied, shipped, but USCIS is closed. Is that true, or there shouldn't be any problem? They'll just take
there shouldn't be any problem. Like I said, the service center, the place where they're printing the cards, They're all working on as per schedule. They may be short staffed, but they have not closed it. So you should be getting your stuff. So don't worry. Do not continue filing your petitions as you're required to, as per the timeline. You should get result, albeit it might be delayed. I have a question from Ragul Manoharan. No, I did answer that. From Ramak. Any amendments on H1 layoffs, like extension of grace period? No, you still have 60 days grace period, only subject to the availability of your I-94 at that time. Will there be an effect for H1 documents if passport expires? That's a good question, Abhilash. Even so, let's say your passport is expiring on December 30th of 2020. Your H1 gets approved. You'll get H1 approved, and your H1 gets approved for 3 years. So let's assume it's your H gets approved until December of 2022. Because your passport expires on December 30th, 2020, your I-94 will be valid only until such time. However, you cannot file a H1 extension or otherwise when your passport has expired.
Okay, where are we?
Hello.
With Praneeth.
Praneeth?
Hello. Yeah, hello.
Hello.
Hello, this is Abhilash.
Hey, Abhilash, how can I help you?
Yeah, so actually my passport is expiring on May 25th, 2020. So like if I need to submit the documents, all the documents before June 30, right? So will there be any impact on the H1?
Yeah, you will not be able to file a petition because of that. I know the Indian consulate is currently closed. However, if you write to the Home Ministry in India, they are taking applications, making exceptions, and they will take your petition, consider your application. So do talk to them and see what they can do for you to move it along.
Okay, sure, yeah.
Hey, hi. Hey, Sharda, this is Seishu.
Hi, Seishu.
I have a question like regarding my form is filed
Seishu,
actually.
Seishu,
Could you please post your question on the message board on the chat window so that we go in the sequence in which they're asked?
Yeah, I already posted. I forgot to add up this question, so it's a follow-up question.
But when we come to the question, Seishu, I'll remember to talk to you. If you don't mind holding on, that way we can keep going in the odd sequence in which people ask the questions, please.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you. So I got to know from. Go ahead. Praneeth's question. Are you going to take it?
Yeah, I'll take it. Hi, Sharda. I got to know from my employer the H1B is picked in the lottery process. I'm currently pursuing my master's in Campbellsville University, and I'm about to graduate from MBA on August 15th. I'll have to transfer my service to a different university because there are no other courses that my university can offer on day one CPT. So my question is, since we have filed for consular process, consider if I got approval and change my service to a different university in August. I am sorry, I'm actually very confused with this question. Praneeth, if you want to talk to me about this.
Yeah, sure. Hey, hi, this is Praneeth. So my question for you is that actually I'm doing my third master's. I'm done with my master's in computer science and master's in ITM. Mm-hmm. And currently I'm about to graduate from MBA from Campbellsville University. Mm-hmm. And August 15th is the last day that I could stay with that university, no matter what, even if I graduate or if I don't. I can transfer my service right away in May, or I can do it in August. So what do you recommend? Like, is it better to transfer my service in May itself to a different university, or?
I would really consider going for a PhD degree. You've literally done too many masters. I would suggest you apply for a PhD degree and move to a school that is offering PhD. And I'll also recommend that you file for a consular H1 process instead of a change of status, knowing what I know.
Okay, sure. Sounds good. All right. So you're asking me to, just move to a PhD university like ASAP, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, this is an interesting question. Suppose in case I get two H1B lottery, um, can I process two H1Bs or do I have to drop one H1B? I think many people will be interested in this.
This is one of those questions. Okay, let me give you guys a little lesson. There is a case called In the Matter of SINC, wherein it says that two related institutions cannot file for H1 for the same beneficiary. And their definition for related is extremely generic, right? To give you an idea, if you have filed with company A, you're filed with company B, both the company are in the business of computer solutions and in staffing. They're considered to be related. So technically, you should not be filing with both. I would highly recommend you pick one and stick to one, but that's a recommendation.
Hey Sharada, I mean, like if you file for Google and Yahoo, so both are like compelling to like same category. That you mean?
So Google and Yahoo, okay, that's a good question. That's a good scenario. Google and Yahoo, they have different work. You can file two different job situation. However, if say you're filing with company A where the end client is Google, company B where the end client is Google, then these two guys are A and B are considered to be related because it's the same position that you're trying to fill.
Okay.
Hello, Shanta. This is Kumar.
Hi, Kumar.
I only posted that question. I have a small question regarding that. Like, the thing is like, for one of the company, I file like a Python developer, and other one I file like big data developer. Both are like different companies and different scenarios. So do I have to process, if I got two H1B, do I have to process two H1s or do I have to drop one in that case?
Is it the same client or the different client, Kumar?
Different clients.
Then you should be fine to file with two different H's. But if it's the same client, I wouldn't.
Okay, and in that case, okay. And I have a continuous question regarding that. My visa is expiring on May 21st, and then I'm still a student. I'm continuing my master's. I'm a CPT student. So do I have to any effect on H1B because of my visa expiring?
No, okay. Your visa, it doesn't affect. But however, if you decide to step outside the country, expect trouble when you're trying to come back in, and you'll have to go for stamping.
Sure, thank you.
I will take couple more questions how do we do this? We can schedule another call maybe the coming week.
Let's try just 1 second, guys. Let's try to finish few more before we split.
Hello, Sean.
Till how much time do you have?
Another 10 minutes.
10 minutes. Okay. All right. So yeah, if someone's interested, go ahead. Go ahead. Whoever was trying to ask a question.
Hello, Shraddha. This is Mansa. For this physical years, will there be any sort of RFEs?
You should expect RFEs for every petition that has been filed.
Okay, thank you.
In my situation, 797 expired on 9/13/2019, and my employer filed my H1B extension on 9/5/2019. My I-94 is also expired on 9/23/2019. Do you have that question in front of you? It's fairly, there are a lot of dates there, so.
No, I actually don't.
Okay. Let's look at this question later. There are a lot of dates there, and it's a fairly complex question. What is admit until date D-bar as? Is it end of visa or end of OPT period?
D-bar S means duration of stay. That is, as long as you are a student, you are okay to stay in the country legally. It is not the visa end date or your OPT end date. Your visa end date is the date that you see on your visa stamping. That is, If you decide to travel after that point, you will need to go for stamping. But until then, you can go in and out, how many ever times you want.
I'm a student. Do I have to file taxes?
Please talk to your CPA about that. They will be the best people to acknowledge that.
Hey Sharda, I have a question. Actually, I'm asking this on behalf of my brother. So he's currently pursuing PhD.
Hi, can we take it up in the order that is coming? It is not fair for me to.
It was actually the follow-up question for the two other
filing
questions.
of taxes.
Okay.
No, not the filing of taxes. It's about the related thing we were talking about, the related entity thing. So my brother is currently on CPT and he's doing his PhD. What he did is he filed his H1B with his employer and also with the client he's currently working. So do you think it will be a related entity?
No, they won't be related.
Okay,
because your client is going to be, the size of the client is going to be much bigger and they're not in the same business. Your client is does what they do, but the employer is in the business of staffing. So two different scenarios.
Sure, thank you.
Yeah, hi guys, this is Vivek. Seems like my question has been skipped. So I just want to ask whether you guys can share this recording because I've joined in a little late and missed some part
Yes,
of it.
I did respond to your question, Vivek. Yes, this recording will be made public.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see that. All right, thank you.
Sure. My I-94 is expired. This is Ajay Belpuri. I-94 is expired. I have denial from client B, but my extension for client A is still in progress. It got an RFE. Do I have legal? Am I legal to stay right now? My employer.
Okay, Ajay, I'm very familiar with your case. I know your case, so that's the reason why I'm saying, can you please have Harish or Sangeeta reach out to me, and I will answer in detail as to what to your question, if you don't mind, please.
Okay, Shanta, thank you.
Thanks.
Now, does H1B employee or
Yes.
eligible to get stimulus checks? Okay, yes. Applied for STEM OPT and shipped it today, but USCIS is closed. Yeah, same question that is answered. Now,
how was CAP calculated? It is calculated from the time that you applied to September 30th.
Got it.
Ravi Kumara, hi Sharda, my dependent visa is applied for extension and biometric happened last March 10th. The visa is expiring on April 12th. Can they stay? Yes, they can, not to worry about it. Any change with the first time H1B filing? No, it's a standard. I'm currently working full-time with one of the top 5 banks. I got my H1 October 2019 and I have it until August 2022. If I lose my job due to recession, what will be my option? Nishi, you will have a choice of trying to find another employer within 60-day period or having to leave the country. Vidya, I filed my H last year and got my I-797B this January. Since it's consular processing, I was supposed to have to go to India, but it has been cancelled. I'm on CPT, which is expiring in August. Can I apply for a change of status, or what are my options? Vidya, since your CPT is valid till August, I'm really hoping and praying that the borders open up sooner. If it does, I recommend that you go outside for stamping. Filing for a change of status is a bad idea, especially when you're on CPT, because the RFE that you will be getting will lead to a denial, so don't do it. Arvind, hey Arvind, I know your case. I know you want to travel out of the country. You cannot travel right now because the border is closed. But if you really want to travel, you're absolutely fine to travel. That's okay. Make sure you carry your prior approval notice and the receipt notice.
Hi, Sharda. This is Vidya. Sorry, trying to unmute. So the question is, if India doesn't open up its consulate, can I go to Mexico or Canada if it opens up? But since this is first time my H1 processing, I was suggested that I go to my home country and not other countries.
So, yes. The usual recommendation that any attorney would make is to go to the home country, and this is the reason why. because we are seeing an uptick in the 221G, the problem becomes that if you go to Mexico or Canada and you get a 221G, you'll be stuck there until such time the 221G is cleared. And that is the reason why we like to send you to India or your home country wherein you have a home to stay. If India doesn't open the borders, Mexico and Canada does, feel free to go. It's okay.
Okay, thank you.
Let me answer Seshu's question and then I think we'll close it up. Perhaps we can have another session if that's okay, Sudhir.
Yeah.
Okay, Seshu, in your case, we are talking to Subhash and Sanjam about your case. You're fine to stay in the country. It depends on how your extension or change of employer situation is filed. We are seeing a delay in the perm, but I'm extremely hopeful that it gets approved and you will be able to get your 140 approved by July. At least file your 140 by July. So I wouldn't worry much. I worry much at this point.
So if I-140 is filed in July, still we get 1 year extension or something like with the receipt number?
No. If I-140 is this thing, only if it is approved, you can ask for an extension. But I'm hoping by July, the things get better. The perm will definitely get approved, Seshu, in your case, but I'm guessing the premium will be made available by then to file your I-140 and get an approval. But I would be more worried about your H1 extension at this point, which you need to talk to Sanjam and Subhash about.
Yeah, like I didn't get the max out time actually H1 only till April 18th I got. Why is that?
You should be talking to Subhash and Sanjam about it. They have the information. This is not a good place to talk about it.
So they are filing a new extension, right? They are filing an extension, right?
You should
for
be
the remaining
talking
day time.
Seshu, you should be talking to them, to your employer. All right.
Hello.
All right.
Okay. Sure. Hello.
Hello, guys. I'm sorry, we are over time. I would love to schedule another call if people require next week and go over it.
No, Sharda, actually.
Hello.
You're breaking up.
20 minutes, but I don't know what's wrong. I can't able to talk to you guys, so that's the reason. Again, I joined in the Zoom.
Okay.
Hello.
We cannot hear you.
If you have it.
We can't hear
completely
you.
breaking up.
How to get your invite? I mean, one of my friends shared your details for this meeting. It's very, very good. So if I have to join your next meeting, like, how do I get your invite?
Yeah, just send your details to info@codemlaw.com. I will, or you can just register yourself on our portal, and you'll get the invite.
Hello.
Great. Thank you very much.
No problem.
Hello.
Hello. We can hear the hello. We are not able to hear the question, but I think we are at the end of the session. We will set up another follow-up call and see how we can ease your questions. But in the meantime, if you have any questions, kindly email us or route your question through your employers if your employers are our clients, and we'll be more than happy to talk to you through them. Thank you everyone for joining. I really appreciate you turning up.
Sharda, this is Rabin. The last question can take.
Yes, I have only one question. I'm trying to talk to you guys from the past 20 minutes. Can you please give me a minute?
Yeah, go ahead. You're breaking up. That is the problem.
I connected through my phone, but it's not working. Just like, I already got a confirmation from the next gen and the Sharda also, my profile got submitted. But the thing is, I'm getting a lot of these viral messages in the WhatsApp that, everyone is saying that, so the guys who already registered for the pre-registration, and if we show the application status is submitted, and everyone is spreading these messages, submitted registration will remain in consideration for selection.
That is right. That is right. It is considered until March 31st.
It is only considered until March 31st, but we are getting it will be considered under the.
Let me finish. I know where you're going. It is considered until March 31st. Like I said, there is a possibility that they will do a second round of lottery end of June, and any submitted application would be considered at that point. we don't have a confirmation at this point from USCIS whether they will do a lottery again or not.
Okay, and one more thing, can we do this I-40, I-140, we can apply in the premium at this time because of the
No.
COVID-19?
No, you can't. All premium processing is stopped at this time.
Oh, all the premium process, even for the I-140 or the H1, anything we can't do for the premium, right?
Yes.
Oh, thank you, sir. That's the only two questions I have.
Yes, Sarda, can we request USCIS to expedite the I-140 application under the special condition?
Your employer may have to call them and talk to it. I don't see how they will accommodate it, but it's something that the employer might be able to try.
But is it feasible, or is it can be doable, or what do you think?
I don't think it is. The chances are very, very slim.
Okay.
Because I-140 not getting approved is not economic distress.
Okay.
Hey, how can we say I-94 has expired?
Look at the CBP's website or your passport or your 797. There are 3 places where you can look at it.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. So guys, just forward your questions to info@codemlaw.com. We will respond to them as soon as we can. If your employers are our clients, yeah, just reach out to them and route the questions through them. But yeah, we need to go. So we'll try to schedule another call, follow-up call. For the questions that we haven't been able to answer, we'll try to respond to you on email. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Late notice.